welcome to Jerusalem. Welcome to Notredam. This is such a beautiful gift that Providence has made available again for pilgrims here in Jerusalem. Sometimes I'm tempted to call it the tent of Abraham's tent here in the desert, you see. It's a magnificent gift from Providence that was built originally by French priests, the Assumptionists of the Augustinians of the Assumption. And they ran it from the 1880s to the early 70s. And the building came under a lot of trouble in the wars of 48 and 67 because the Israelis took the building as a strategic point over the old city, and then it suffered a lot of artillery, a lot of damage, and so there were many challenges in the early 70s, and the building was actually going to be lost for Christian pilgrimage. So the Vatican stepped in order to meet the outcry of the Christian population here in Jerusalem as probably the only viable institution that was able to bring the building back to the original service of Christian pilgrimage. And through the efforts with Golda Meir, the Premier of Israel, it was possible to get the building back and put it into service again for pilgrimage. It was restored completely, and the Vatican then appointed different delegates to run the building. A German priest, Monsignor Mattes, who did an incredible job rebuilding the entire structure. He also added two new features: an auditorium for 470 people, seats, and this was inaugurated by Pope John Paul II when he was here for the Jubilee, the Great Jubilee of the year 2000. And we also had Pope Benedict here 3 years ago, and both of them held major interreligious conferences here. In this auditorium also, just to give you an idea, we have many conferences. 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, we had the first ever interreligious bioethics conference where we had Muslim scholars, Jewish scholars, Christian scholars try to establish common ground and understanding in bioethics. And then here to the right of the auditorium, we have a school for Palestinians, mostly from East Jerusalem, and these are kids who would not normally aspire to third level education, and they can have a qualified diploma to serve in the entire tourist sector, pilgrimage sector, in catering, in hotels, in restaurants, as chefs, as reception management, as room management in the hotels, in travel agencies. So we have a language lab, a computer lab, and we have the most advanced culinary school in the entire Middle East, thanks to generous people who have helped us to refurbish this facility. And we have about 200 students a year who qualify. And one great satisfaction for us is in this school that many of the teachers today were former students in this school and went on to excel in their careers and advance their education and are qualified to come back and teach and give back. So this is also part of Notredam's outreach to the local community, and especially to support the Christian community. In the school, however, there maybe half the students are Muslim. So this is part also of the interreligious reality that we live in Jerusalem, and also it has a lot of challenges to be here, but it's a great blessing, and it's a great blessing for the pilgrims to be able to come here. This house serves also as a major resource for all the Christian communities. We often have gatherings of all the different Christian leaders here, and if the Greek Orthodox or other communities want to have, Armenians want to have a celebration, they have it here at Notredam. We have the infrastructure with 150 rooms and 280 beds. We have conference rooms, the auditorium. We have 4 different restaurants, which are splendid. Right across here we have the Wine and Cheese restaurant, which is just probably the top restaurant in the world. Who has a view of Jerusalem like this restaurant from the Wine and Cheese? And there's nothing else like it in Jerusalem with a view of this caliber so close to the old city in the Mount of Olives. So it's a great gift. We can see a couple of other things from here as well. This church is dedicated to St. Stephen, and this church is run by the French Dominicans, and there it's the seat of the École Biblique, which is a major archaeological and biblical study center for the church, together with the Pontifical Biblical Institute. And now the latest addition is down here at the Flagellation at the Franciscan Biblical School at the site of the Antonia Fortress, and this is the third center where doctorates are given in sacred scripture here in Jerusalem for Catholic students especially. Now up on the mountain, Mount Scopus, we have Hebrew University, which was founded by Einstein and other major scientists back in the 1920s. It's the oldest university in the Middle East and also the largest with 30,000 students. There are 4 campuses here in Jerusalem. So there's a strong academic life. The Mormons are here on the Mount of Olives with their building with the arches. It's a subsidiary of the university in Utah, in Salt Lake City. Then we have on top of that the Augusta Victoria Center, which is the World Lutheran Federation's seat here in Jerusalem. And it was inaugurated or founded by Kaiser Wilhelm and dedicated in honor of his wife, Augusta Victoria.